Guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about what to do after your medical coding interview. If you're brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue, I'm a medical coder. Okay guys, you had a really great interview. You passed your assessment test, you're passing your background check, and you had a really great interview. And now you're wondering, what do I do? Do I send a thank you note? Yes, within 24 hours, you should be sending a thank you note to your interviewer. Now, it can be either a handwritten card or it can be by email. That is totally fine. And I will say this about these notes. They need to be properly written. So check your grammar, check your spelling, especially on the person's name. If you get the person's name misspelled, and you may say, well, the system changed the spelling, you need to be proofreading, okay? Because as somebody who chronically has their name misspelled, even though it's everywhere, as somebody who chronically has their name misspelled, that is one of my own personal pet peeves. Now, I get it. It's Blue. My name is Blue, B-L-E-U. Not the most common spelling, right? But I know if people are paying attention to the way that they write and the way that they speak, you know, through text, is very important. At least to me it is. And to potential employers, it is too. You never want to misspell somebody's name or misaddress them either, okay? So make sure that you keep that stuff in mind. You know, making sure that you run your message through something like Grammarly. This is not an ad for Grammarly, but Grammarly is great because it's going to check, you know, your spelling, is going to check your grammar so that it sounds right, okay? There's nothing wrong with using tools like that to kind of help you along if you are not the most comfortable of writers. And if you are not comfortable with writing, you need to get rid of that, because to be a successful medical coder, you need to have good writing skills. I don't care what anybody tells you. Trust me, you will need those writing skills. And that's one thing a lot of people don't talk about. But I will tell you that it is very beneficial. So make sure that when you're sending your thank you note within 24 hours to your interviewer, that you are running it through Grammarly, you're checking and double checking the spelling, and then you're sending it on. It doesn't need to be a huge long thing. It just needs to be very brief, short, a very quick thank you, you know, nothing that, you know, reiterating everything. You can talk about like what you guys talked about in the interview, maybe circle back to something that you said in there. That's okay. But that's something that, you know, you can do for your message, but just make it brief. Okay. And then, people will ask me, hey Blue, they said that they would talk to me in like at least 2 weeks and let me know, it's getting to be about that time. What should I do? You can follow up only one time. You can, if they haven't gotten back to you right away, keep in mind that people that are doing interviews are often having other duties as well. It's not just about interviewing. They're not just doing the interview process and hiring. That's not their whole job. They have other things they have to do too. Like if they're a supervisor, they're supervising their staff. They got to do payroll. They got to do all these other things. So it's important to keep that stuff in mind. You know, the hiring process isn't always the highest priority for people who are working in these companies. So just something to think about when you are wondering, you know, if you should or you shouldn't. You should only send one follow-up email, and that's it. You can reiterate your interest, make it brief, and that's it. Only one time. When you are repeatedly sending emails and checking in and calling every week, do not call. That's number one. Do not call. You don't ever call, especially on the follow-up. You can send an email, but do not call, because calls are intrusive, right, to the work process, because especially when you're working, no one wants to keep getting incessant calls from somebody, okay? And that's the thing. Now, you may really want to work there, and I get that, but not every place that you interview that the interview process was good is going to hire you. There are other candidates that they have to look at as well. This is why I'm saying too that when you have this really good interview and you've sent out this thank you card, you need to continue to apply. Now, some people will tell me, well, Blue, no, I want to wait and see what they say. If you wait and see what they say, a lot of times you're going to continue to wait, because there's no guarantee that even though this was a good interview, that you're actually going to get the job. ask anybody who's gone through that, okay? So just make sure that you're still applying, because they are not the only employer in town. So you want to make sure that you keep your options open. Now, if you have an interview that day and then somebody else says, oh, well, can we get an interview too? By all means, go ahead. You don't have to wait until you hear back from the first employer to continue to be interviewing for other places. You have skill, you have talent, and you have this ability to be able to do this work. So you are in demand. Look at it that way. You are in demand. Now, don't just accept that, oh, I don't have any experience, so I need to jump on the first job offer that I get, or I need to wait until I hear back from this other person. You don't have to wait, folks. You got to keep moving until somebody says, hey, we have a job offer for you. Because when people are trying to decide who to hire, they're looking for the best candidate that's going to be a good fit for their work culture and fit in with their people and be able to work cohesively with everybody else. That's what they're looking for. And a lot of times, even in the job listing, it'll tell you specifically what that employer is looking for. Now, sometimes employers have been known to do 2 and 3 different interviews with different candidates because they're trying to find somebody. Just because they're calling you back for a second interview, if you feel like that wasn't a job that you wanted, don't take that second interview, okay? Don't take that interview away from somebody else who would really want to have that job. That's the most selfish thing that I hear from some job seekers is, well, I didn't really want that job, but I went ahead and went to the second interview anyway. You can always decline. You're not an employee yet, okay? And usually that gut feeling that you get when you are interviewing is the feeling that you need to go with. Now, yes, there's always going to be a lot of nerves. Trust me. When you are interviewing, there are so many nerves that you're going to go through. But you need to make sure that you are giving yourself the best chance with all of these places you're applying. If you really are not feeling that environment, don't go for that second interview. If they call you, you can decline it. And you can just tell them you found another position, or you have another opportunity that you would like to pursue. That is totally fine. They get it, okay? Trust me, there's a lot of other candidates that are going to be looking at that position as well. So that is always in your power to do. A lot of times job seekers will feel like they have no power, like, they're just at the mercy of these employers. And that's not true. You have something those employers want: your talent, your knowledge, your skill. And so that's why you need to start projecting that energy of, I have this skill. I have no experience, but I do have the skill on how to medical code. So I am going to carry myself that way. And trust me, that is what is going to get you a lot further along when you have that confidence. Now, when I had my first job, it was through the temp agency. I had to get past those temp agency people. As far as I had to sell my skill to them so that they can look for me out there, like a job out there. And so that was how I was able to get in that way. So the first one I went through was the Cancer Therapy Research Center. Then I went on to my second assignment with the temp agency. Again, I had to make sure that I was able to express that I am a good and hardworking employee, which that temp agency knew by my first assignment. So they were very quick to offer me that second position that I went to, and I was working at a hospital. Now, the third job that I got, that was on me, okay? So I had applied here at my coding home where I am now. And when I applied, I made sure that I was confident. Now, was I nervous? Yes. This was a phone interview. There was no face-to-face. Face-to-face for me is a little bit better than being on the phone, because to me, on the phone, you're only getting the inflection of my voice, and that's it. You're not seeing me and my personality and how I'm engaged in this meeting. So to me, it's kind of like blindfolding me when I'm having an interview. But I knew that because this was a phone interview, I was like, I'm going to have to really, really make sure that I'm on my A game. And I was, because everything about what I was projecting was confidence. And that was what my boss, when I came here, told me. She's like, you were very confident in your interview. And that was really great. That was what I was looking for. I was like, well, good. And she starts laughing. But you know, that's the thing. For me, it was a I cannot fail situation. Okay. But here's the thing. So the interview went really great for me, right? And so I said, okay, great, you know, everything is good, and we were all laughing, and it's just like we're having this great connection. And then my soon-to-be boss had asked me, so if you, if we send this on and we all decide, if you were to start, how soon would you be able to start? Well, of course, these are very promising words, right? And so I said, exactly 2 weeks to the day I get the call. That was my response, because I'm showing enthusiasm, and of course that was the truth. I literally was going to give them 2 weeks to the day I got the call. And so she said great, and then I didn't hear anything. So I did follow up with a thank you, and that was it. I didn't do anything else after that. When I didn't hear anything back, the one that I cried to was my mom. That's who I cried to, because that's when I was like, oh my gosh, you know, what did I do? And I knew this interview was great, but what happened? Why didn't I get a call? I took it to my mom. I didn't take it to LinkedIn. I didn't take it to other professionals. I took it straight to my mom. Now, this is what I'm telling you guys here. When this happens to you, which it will, right? Do not take it to social media. Do not take it to your Instagram, LinkedIn, especially do not take it to LinkedIn. I have to stay off of LinkedIn sometimes for a few days because of the amount of complaining that I see future medical coders and veteran medical coders doing about the job search process. I have to take a break from it because to me it's just too much. You're complaining and people are seeing that you are complaining. No. Don't do this. Do not do this. If you hear anything that I say, and I know sometimes people get about maybe 5% of what I say, because sometimes I'll get these messages back. Oh, Blue, you said literally not what I said. Literally not what I said. So hear this. Do not take your complaints about the job search process or, you know, the after interviews or any of those things. Do not take them to LinkedIn. Do not post that you are frustrated. Do not post your story about how, you know, you've been looking and you're trying to provide for your family. Do not post it on LinkedIn, period. You take that to your closest, your bestest friend. You take that to your pet. You take it to somebody else. You take it off of social media. Do not put it on there. Even if you have to force yourself to log out. Do not post it on there. Do not take it to a local chapter meeting. If you are going to the chapter meetings in person, do not take it there. Do not take it to any closed Facebook group that you think you're going to be safe for talking about that stuff in. Do not do it, guys. Don't do it. Because trust me, recruiters, HR people, supervisors, managers, they're looking at your behavior on social media. So set yourself up for success. If you get knocked down, if you don't get that call, it's all right. Get right back up, because now you still have all of these other places that you've been applying. You're not just putting all your eggs in one basket. And if you don't understand what that means, it means you're not just giving all of your energy to one source, right? You are making sure that you are putting your resume out to as many employers as you possibly can, because you never know if when you're waiting for a response from somebody else that another potential employer could be giving you an even better offer, but because you didn't take that second interview, or you didn't take that that other interview, rather not the second interview but the other interview, that could potentially make you lose out on money and salary, or on another job perk that you want. Maybe it's working an off schedule, or just different alternative work schedule, rather, where some places they'll let you work 4 10-hour days. Some will let you work a little bit longer on certain days and then have one day off every 2 weeks. There's that rotating type schedule. So it really all depends. Every employer is different. So always leave your options open. Make sure that you are still continuing to apply, even if you had a really great interview. And to follow up, do not pester the people that are out there doing the interviewing. They have a lot to do. And if you keep after them more than once, you're no matter what happens, no matter how good that interview was, you just blew it because you still continue to go after that one person. Now, I will say from my own experience, I've had people who will write me one day, literally write me again the second day, literally write me again the third day, and keep on. And it's the same thing. You know what happens to those people that do that to me? They get blocked. Like the third time, they get blocked because I have a lot to do. I am one person. I do everything. I do not have an assistant. I do not have somebody else handling all of the emails that I get. I do not have somebody else who's managing my schedule. I manage the schedule and I've got plenty to do, but I try to balance everything out. But it is difficult when I have to keep getting the same question over and over and over and over again. I can just imagine a interviewer getting that same thing. You know, somebody just keep continually sending them the same thing or trying to follow up or ask them why. You don't ever ask why. You don't ever say, have you made a decision yet? You know, you don't do that. One follow-up is fine. And even then, you're not asking them if you made a decision. You're just restating your interest. To me, I wouldn't do that though. I would not do that. Even after, like, it's been 2 weeks and I didn't hear back. Okay, that's not the job for me. Because to me, I'm not going to sit here and beg an employer for a job. That's the worst thing that you can do, is beg an employer for a job, especially when you have skill that you had to learn. Not going to do it. And even when I was looking for a job, I still did not do that in the beginning. Before I got my first job, I never did that. Because to me, if they don't want me, they don't want me. If they want me, they'll call me. And, you know, like I said, I got that in the beginning too, where the interviewer wanted me, but because of the rules of the facility, they were like, well, no, we can't. Okay, whatever. That's why I say, you know, leadership has to change. And that's something about this industry that I hope will change in the future. But in the meantime, this is what we all have to do. Okay. And I will close this message up with this. Guys, I know looking for a job is very hard on the ego. It is. But there is a lot of power in this as well. Looking for a job is a job in itself. Everybody knows this. Okay. But how you behave and how you act says a lot about what they are willing to take on, these employers, right? They have to be willing to accept you for who you are as well as you accept what's going on in their facility and how things are in their work culture, okay? Things happen for a reason. And sometimes when you think, why didn't I get this job? Why didn't I get the call? I thought that. Before I got here to my coding home, I thought that. I said, you know, this was a great interview. This was wonderful. Why didn't I get this job? And I cried. I cried so hard to my mom because I wanted this job to get back home to my mom, to be close enough to get back home to my mom. Where I was 8 hours, almost 9 hours away from my hometown. And I was so far away from her. But where I wanted to be was going to be 2 hours away. 2.5 hours away, give or take. And I knew that that was something that I wanted. And then the fact that I didn't get it at that time, my mom said something and I will never forget it. It wasn't your time yet. It wasn't your time yet. Just be patient. And so you gotta take your mom's advice. In my situation, I take my mom's advice. You know, that to me was my saving grace at that time because I was able to calm down after that. And I knew, okay, mom said it. It's not the right time for me. But then when I saw that job position open again, I applied again. And I did that because this was a great interview. And that second position was even better than the first one. So that's why I was like, no, I'm going to apply again. And my mom says, yeah, go ahead. And that was when I got the position here. So that's the thing I want you guys to know. There's a reason for everything. If you don't get a position right away, there is something happened that's in the way that's causing you not to get that position. So don't freak out and don't panic because there's a reason for it. Okay. Now we won't always know the reason. We will not always know the reason. And we will sometimes always wonder that. But you have to be ready, be prepared, and still be confident. And that's what I was during that time. I said, I knew that was a good interview, and I am going to get into this facility no matter what. And I had that mentality. And so that's what you have to have, especially now when you're out there looking for a job. But again, only follow up. If you're going to follow up only one time. And then if you don't get a call back, if you don't get a response, then just move on. Or if they open the position again, go ahead and apply again. You know, if you really want to work there. Always be sure to send that thank you note within 24 hours. Make sure you check this name of the spelling, okay? The spelling is correct on their name. Because trust me, if I see somebody that misspells my name and I'm doing the hiring, nope. Because this person is not into details. Medical coding is all about the details. And when you don't take the time to double check the spelling of a name, especially a name, that's not good, guys. Because for us in medical coding, if you change one letter or one number, or you transpose something, that can completely change the code or make the code invalid. So that's something that you all need to make sure that you understand getting into this field, okay? Tomorrow I'm going to be going over interview tips. So if you are in the interview phase, I will be giving some tips about that. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. If this video helped you, please give it a like, subscribe, share if you think that this will help somebody else as well. And I will see y'all next time. Bye.